In this video, I interview Adam from Epic Wildlife, and he shares the secrets to building a successful YouTube channel. But stick around till the end because he's going to reveal some secrets about his own personal life, too. So Adam, why don't you tell us a little bit about your story? How'd you get into doing the YouTube channel? What was the path that led you there?
Well, I was always into YouTube back when it first started, like in 2006, and I started making silly videos back then. But I'd say it took several years before I realized that it was something I could make money from. And when I realized that, I started really going forward into it, trying to get out of poker at the time. And yeah, several years finally kind of started to take off, and I was able to do something I was really passionate about. And yeah, now that's where I'm here today.
So you were doing poker before this, so you were already kind of living that free lifestyle, is that correct?
Yeah, I played online poker for a living for 8 years. Traveled all around doing that, Thailand, Europe, yeah, everywhere.
Okay, very cool. So a
Poker
big question
sucks.
for you. Poker sucks, is that what you said?
Sucks. It was good to finally get something to get out of that.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so if you could do it over again, would you still do YouTube? Or since you've been involved in this, have you found other things that if you could do it over again, you'd do differently?
I would have just started earlier with doing things that I was more passionate about instead of doing things that I thought would make money.
Okay, so what did you try that didn't work before?
One of the things I tried early on, I'm kind of embarrassed about, was this thing called, reply videos, where I would
Mm,
go and, as soon as like Jenner Marbles or Ray William Johnson or someone that had like a popular video that would come out, I'd make a reply video in a style just like this, how we're talking, and just be like, "Oh, I just saw this video by Jenner Marbles, and she did this and this." It was really lame, but that did get views.
hmm
But nothing like the girls that would show cleavage, and they made a lot of money actually until they changed the algorithm. And when they changed the algorithm, it actually helped me.
Oh, very cool. So did you have a lot of other failed channels before you got into Epic Wildlife,
Uh,
or?
Probably like 20 failed channels before I got into Epic Wildlife. Yeah, tried a
Well,
lot of things.
that's good for people out there to know, though. It's not like you just tried this one thing and then instant success. It takes some work.
Oh, definitely. It takes a lot of work. Yeah.
So what would you say to someone that wants to start a YouTube channel but has no ideas and doesn't know where to start?
I would say, first figure out what you love to do and what you're passionate about, and figure out how you can give value to other people, and then kind of take that path from there. I'd say don't get too caught up in making everything perfect. And,
hmm
YouTube is very forgiving. If you look at my channel, some of the first videos I did with Epic Wildlife were horrible. And so just get something out there, get started. The hardest thing I see with people starting YouTube is, they make they make all these plans, try to make everything perfect, and then, a month goes by, they never even put up a video. So I say if you're interested in YouTube, put up a video today. That's your goal. Put
Yeah.
up a video today, no matter how bad it is, and then just improve on just one thing each time.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, a big thing I see, and even I personally wanted to do, is buy the best equipment, buy all this kind of stuff. And I think you're right. Shoot it on your iPhone. You can always go back and change it.
Yeah.
So another question is, what kind of equipment do you use, and would you recommend to someone when they start getting a little bit more serious?
I use a Canon T3i Rebel, and yeah, it works out pretty good. It does everything I need it to do. I have a nice stand. I have a green screen room downstairs now, and got it soundproofed. Yeah, so taking it to the next step, I'd get something like that.
And what about for like a mic? Do you use a special kind of mic or?
Actually, I use this right here right now. You can see this is the Blue Yeti. It's a
Yeah.
pretty common one that a lot of people use. A few of us in the house use this one. It's pretty good.
How do you set that up then? If you're doing the videos, you set it up by the camera or?
Well, now I record the audio separately. So yeah, and I just sync it up with some claps, and then
Oh, okay.
inside Adobe Premiere Pro, what I use inside that, you can just match up the wavelengths. So I have the audio from the camera, line it up with the audio from the Yeti, and then I'll just delete the audio from the camera, and yeah, it sounds a lot better.
Awesome.
Took
All
a
right. So
couple
now we have
years.
some good ideas and some good equipment. Past that, what are your recommendations for making a good video? How do you make it engaging? How do you get the YouTube people to actually watch it?
Well, it's a lot like an advertisement. If you see a video, they're called True View, the ads they have on YouTube, you can skip them after 5 seconds.
Hmm.
So I kind of make my videos with the mindset that, I have 5 seconds to catch someone's attention. So right away, I need to let them know exactly what this video is about
Hmm.
and put a hook in there at the same time. And
Very
later
cool.
in the video, I'm going to tell you the best hook that would get you thousands of dollars every day. That's coming up. But first,
Oh,
yeah, so that's kind of like a hook there. Yeah, yeah.
I like it. I gotta start using that in the podcast. And then, okay, so now you got some great content, some great video clips, and then the editing, putting it together. What would you recommend, I guess, first for someone that's just starting out, and then someone maybe a little bit more advanced?
For just starting out, I would try to get the simplest program you can. Adobe Premiere Pro CS6 is probably the best program to use if
Hmm.
you're if you have some experience, but it is very overwhelming,
Yeah.
extremely overwhelming. And I probably had my channel up for a couple years before I went to Adobe Premiere Pro, and now it's great. But yeah,
Yeah.
starting out like all the basic generic free ones, just get something
Hmm.
like and start off. I started out with a video pad, which was a pretty simple program.
Very cool. Yeah, I don't know if I ever showed you my video. I did a video on YouTube. One of
Yeah.
the problems was, and you told me this was going to be a problem, it was too long of a video.
Mm.
But my big thing was I hated editing it. So I definitely recommend taking your advice, doing the smaller videos because for me it took me like 2 weeks because it was a 10-minute video before I
Ooh.
finally got finished. But another
Yeah.
problem I ran into was getting fair use images and like fair use video clips
Mm-hmm.
because all the images I wanted to use are technically I'm not allowed to be using them. How do you go about getting all the images for your videos?
This was something that the biggest thing to find in the beginning was this problem. I have a few accounts. One is video blocks. There's also stock footage you can use. If you're getting a little more serious, just sign up for these, use that. If you're just starting out and you don't want to pay for these licensing, you could just go to Google Images and search public domain, or they have a special search in Google Images that'll show you just the ones that you're allowed to use, that are just, yeah, public domain or royalty free. And yeah, so those are like some good images there.
Very cool. And what about acting technique? Because I assume you're probably kind of just a natural, maybe not, but someone that's not such a good actor. What would you recommend they look to? How would they find more information about becoming better?
Well, I would say for 90% of YouTube channels, it's not about acting, it's about being yourself and genuine and connecting with your audience. So the more you can be
Gotcha.
yourself and use your own thoughts and try to, like we're talking right here.
Yeah.
If you talk directly to your audience like you're talking to one person, not to a crowd, I think that's what you should go for. Be as genuine as possible.
Very cool. And that did that take you a while to figure out, or did you kind of know that intuitively when you started out?
Well, I think I slowly transitioned into that, where before I
Mhm.
was like thought, oh man, if 1,000 people watch this video, I need to be talking to a room of 1,000 people. Then I realized, well, every comment it's just one at a time, and yeah, so I just started to try to connect a little bit more. But sometimes it can be difficult, depending on your script or what you're doing.
Yeah, I've seen some of your early videos and some of your later videos, and it's really obvious to me like how much you've changed and like your approach and everything. I don't know if that's just something. So it sounds like it's something you just got like over time, just practicing. Is that
Well,
correct?
there's a lot of practice. I like to do first and then read how to do it later.
Gotcha.
That's
Yeah, that's
just
a
the kind of learner that I am. And I'm always reading up about how to improve channels, how to improve videos, how to improve script, how to improve, everything as a whole, and then try to take just one step at a time.
I think that's good advice for just about everything in life. Almost everything you want to learn, it's kind of better to jump into it and then afterwards kind of figure it out. Where I'm definitely one of those people, like at the core, I want to know everything I can possibly know about something before I do it. It's the
So
worst.
tell me.
No. Yeah, and it's like I've gotten a lot better at that with age, but
Hmm.
that's definitely something I've worked on. So let's shift gears here a little bit. And what about gaining followers? How did you get your first non-friend or non-family member view? I don't know
Yeah,
if you remember.
yeah. Well, it was just like, my whole thing was just get up as much content as possible.
Hmm.
The whole thing, content is king. So in the beginning, I would suggest make as many videos as possible. Don't worry about how many subscribers or followers you have. Just worry about getting up content, especially if you're new because you're still practicing. your first 10 videos aren't going to be great, but they're going to be better. Your next 10 videos are going to be better, and you're going to keep improving. Once you start to get your content up, you're going to start to just get followers randomly. They're going to find your videos. And the best way to do that is to put your videos on as many social networks as possible, do collaborations with other channels. There's a lot of things you can do to try to even promote in person. But I would say Facebook is a really good place to start. Facebook and collaborations with other channels.
Would you do Facebook ads, or were you just posting stuff on Facebook?
I've done a lot of Facebook ads this summer, just to kind of try it out. Um, if you want to, spend the money on that, it's
Yeah.
a way to get some base. But the main thing is just getting quality content, and YouTube will promote it themselves if people are watching it to the end of the videos.
Very cool. So any other good tactics? So you actually, let's go back. You said collaborations. Early on, did you find it hard to do collaborations with people before you had a lot of followers? Or
Yeah, it is kind of tough. I'm with a network called Fullscreen where you can go in forums and try to do collaborations with other people, but everyone wants to do collaborations with channels that are bigger than them. So if you're a small channel, that can be tough. But if you can find people that are around your same size and do collaborations with related content, that's key. And that's something you'll always hear other big successful YouTubers talking about collaborations. And so,
yeah.
yeah, I can't say enough about that.
What was one of your favorite collaborations that you did? Is there one that
Uh,
sticks out?
Well, what I tried to do is try to connect with my audience a little more. So instead of collaborating with big channels, I tried to just collaborate by featuring guests on my show, like the 50 Strangest Animals series. And so that had a person that either left a comment, sent a message on Facebook, had a YouTube channel where they could even appear in a video and just be like, "Oh, hey, Adam, I just found this crazy animal," and yeah, and then I'll just go kind of take it from there. And that's been
How,
pretty successful so far.
something I notice all the time when I'm on YouTube is that the thumbnails and the titles are just insane. How important is it to, get a good title and a good thumbnail?
I would say if I was going to rate it on a scale of 10, I would say it's 10 out of 10. That's
Okay,
probably
wow.
as far as getting views. If you have a really good title and thumbnail, though, and your video doesn't match it, then it's going to have a bad audience retention and it's just not ever going to get any views. But it just kind of like you need all the pieces of the puzzle. And then
Mhm.
what'll happen is YouTube's algorithm will kind of promote the video themselves and do all the work for you.
Do you tend to use like the same blogs or same kind of spaces to promote your videos, or is it always
Uh,
kind of changing?
I'm kind of always changing.
Yeah.
Um, I'll like go hard in one area, try to find different blogs, maybe writing guest posts, and then I'll go in another area. Maybe I'm making forum accounts and trying to post on there and stuff. And that's a lot of stuff I did in the beginning. I don't really do much of that anymore.
Very
Now I'm
cool.
just trying to
And
focus on making, the best quality content possible.
yeah. What about so making money outside? I mean, everybody knows that you can make money in YouTube based on the
Right.
ads and stuff. What about making money outside YouTube now that you have a little bit of fame? Is there anything you do with that or?
Well, it's kind of tough. I've been kind of exploring other opportunities, but I haven't really dug into anything too far. That just seems like a lot of work, and I don't enjoy that as much. But I have some shirts out. They're there to sell.
Yeah.
But it's just it's kind of insignificant compared to
The
what
ad
you're making
revenue.
from ad revenue. And lately, I've been doing a lot of getting called in to do a lot of commercials. Like I did Jimmy Kimmel. I did Sony Action Cam. I did TNT's new episodes that was coming out. And so there's a lot of opportunity to make it outside where you get more specialized, high name brands just for your channel.
Do you have a lot of people that come to you to try to do collaborations now that you're bigger?
Well, now with full screen. I have a full-time manager that handles all that. There's several people working there that'll approach me, and I have been approached outside from other companies that want to do things as well. But I kind of trust full screen to, they're a little more organized than trying to do something outside.
So people don't usually directly come to you and say, "Hey, I'd like to collaborate." They have to go through the manager.
No, they can come directly to me, and they have, but then it's harder to connect with those people because you don't know like how legit it is. And my inbox is full of stuff constantly from YouTube, so it's hard to like filter through what's legit, what's not legit.
any advice you'd give to people that want to contact someone from YouTube, try to do a collaboration, and to stand out? Because, like you said, the inboxes are full. You're a busy guy.
Um, yeah, I would write them a very personalized message. You know, like if let's say there was a channel that wanted to collaborate with me, send me a message just kind of personalized in the title, and then be very specific about what you want to do in a collaboration. You know, just sending a message and saying, "Hey, I want to do a collaboration," is, you know, it's like, okay, that's cool. But if you send a message like, "Hey, I have this idea. It's this exact thing with this exact thing, and I think it would be perfect," then it's more personalized. And it's like, okay, I can envision that. Let's do something like that.
Very cool. Any other advice? I mean, this has been just rapid fire, a lot of content here. Any other advice for making great YouTube videos?
I would say, you know, once you have a few videos up, you can look at things like audience retention. I'm always looking at audience retention. If you're not familiar with audience retention, it's a stat that will show where your video starts and how it's doing and where people are dropping off. Sometimes you can see a dip here, and sometimes you see at the end. One thing I see a lot of people do wrong is at the end of their video, they'll start jabbing on. So you look at the audience retention, they're doing great. They're keeping their attention, and then it just drops off and they're still talking, you know. And so I would say try to end your video a little quicker to have a little higher audience retention. And then the algorithm really likes total watch time. So you said you made that 10-minute video. And
Yeah.
let's say, you know, my average watch time is about 70% on my videos, and those are about three minutes long. That 10-minute video, if you had a 50% audience retention, that seems a lot lower than my audience retention, but at 10 minutes, that's a 5-minute total watch time. That's pretty good because you're going to be up
Hmm.
against other 10-minute videos. But you can go back and look at your audience retention and see, like, you know, how it looks, and maybe there's something where it dipped off here, and then you can go back and fix those areas, you know.
And you can't fix it for that same video, correct?
Oh
Or
no,
you,
you're
you
just looking at improving your next video. Just like, you know, a couple steps. Next video, I'm gonna drop off this part where, you know, I kind of went on a rant about something. You know, obviously people weren't into that. So, and you can also look at videos that are successful as well. You see a video that's all the way through. It's like, what did you do there? Um,
gotcha.
so
What
stats and
about
analytics are very important.
Okay, now that you're a little bit more established, how do you tend to work? Do you just film videos whenever you're in the mood, or do you have like I know for me personally, I'll work really hard for 3 months and then kind of coast for a couple months. What do you
Yeah,
find that works?
I'm kind of bad at coasting. I'm very obsessive compulsive. Whatever I'm doing at the time, I'm just into it 100%. I kind of block out everything. So like, you know, last year I worked really hard for about 5 or 6 months, and then I,
Mhm.
you know, went off to Thailand for 4 months, and not a single video went up. And I just had, you know, everyone, did he die? What happened? So now this summer I did another kind of thing. I worked for like 3 months really hard, got up a lot of content, and I just got back from Nicaragua. And now my plan is to, YouTube lets you schedule out videos. So my plan is to work really hard when I'm in the mood for it, but spread things out a little bit more. So it looks, you know, have more consistent content, because that is important. And that's one thing I can improve with my channel for sure.
Okay, so this next time, what you're saying is you're gonna work really hard for that same like 5 to 6 months, but then just release the videos instead of every other day, like over the like once a week or something.
Kind of get more of a schedule. So like if I could have, like, I have several other channels as well, that I don't put as much time into, that are, you know, I call them my cheap channels. But yeah, like one, I have videos scheduled out. Every 3 days a new video comes out, and it's scheduled out, I think, till February. So
Wow.
yeah. But epic
Now,
wildlife videos take a long time now, so it's harder to do those and schedule them out that far in advance.
I want to ask you some more lifestyle questions, but before I get into that, anything else to add about like how to make great YouTube videos or a great YouTube channel?
Well, I'd say, well, your hook right there was great. So now this whole time we could just sit around and not do anything. Everyone's going to wait for those lifestyle questions. But
Yeah,
um,
because the people that don't know Adam, he is a blast to hang out with and just has a great outlook on life. But first, I mean, let's talk
yeah,
any more YouTube stuff.
let's see. I would say just focus on making value, um, as much value as you can, because YouTube algorithm is always changing as well. And what YouTube wants, they want a video that's people are going to watch. They're going to enjoy and watch it to the end, and then they're going to get to that slate at the end that has 9 videos. And what they put in those 9 videos are videos that are getting clicks and then getting back to that screen, you know, like a loop.
Hmm.
And so if your videos are getting watched to the end, and they're getting clicks on that loop, they're going to put you in that loop. And I would say 80% of my views um, come from being in that loop and YouTube promoting the video itself.
Okay, one last question actually. We already kind of touched on this, but why would you recommend YouTube over other ways of making money online?
Hmm.
For someone who's
Uh,
out there, someone who's out there thinking maybe this is for me, maybe it's not, but
I would say, well, YouTube is now it's been the second biggest search engine. People want to see videos. You know, this last month when I was in Nicaragua, I was watching a lot of YouTube videos, how-to videos, how to surf, just all different kinds of things. YouTube is it, you know. Cable's going to become obsolete with YouTube. Everything's going to become obsolete. YouTube is the number one place to watch videos until there's some competition that's going to take it away. Anything you're doing, YouTube is going to be there.
yeah.
And so the more you know and how to master the platform, the better you're going to be in the future.
Absolutely. And one other thing I'd like to add is I know for me personally, every time I sit down to have a meal or something, rather than turning on the TV, I'm like, oh, let's just go on YouTube because it's always new content. There's much less commercials than a TV show. And it seems like right now the barrier to entry, sure, there's a lot of competition,
Mm-hmm.
but the barrier to entry is still pretty low. And it seems like it's still not too saturated, in my opinion. So it's a good place to get into.
I mean, every month there's more people that upload content than the month before, and that's growing and growing. But there's also more people that's watching YouTube. So the growth of people making videos and they're still going up. Eventually it'll plateau, and then it's going to be tougher and more competition. But right now it's still great to get into.
Very cool. So we've heard you talk a little bit about going to Thailand, and where was the last place you were again?
Went to a small beach town, just got back from there a few days ago called San Juan de Sur. Small beach town, you just walk everywhere you go. Beautiful place.
Very cool. So what's some things I guess you wish you would have known, like your mid to early 20s, that you can share with the audience?
Um, hmm.
I know that's a tough question,
Yeah,
but
that's a good question. I would say, what would I have known in my early 20s that I wish I would have known then? I guess just to be a little bit more open to traveling, I guess. The earlier you can travel, the better, because it just opens up your mind to the world.
mhm.
And I felt like I became a lot more genuine when I could see other cultures and everything. And yeah, just anything you can do to get out of the country, see other places.
Every time I talk to you, you seem extremely positive. Is there any way you're able to stay so positive all the time? Like, how do you do it? What's your secret, I guess?
Um, I guess nothing's ever really a big deal. I mean, life's always going to go on. I've been in rock bottom, like the worst place you can be. So no matter what happens, it's always going to be better than there. So I mean, you can't just suggest that for everyone, because not everyone has been there. But I've always taken risks, knowing that, what's the worst that can happen.
How'd you get out of rock bottom? Like, if you don't mind me asking, what led up to that, and how were you able to get out of that? Because it's
Yeah.
something I hear a lot.
Well, I was in Thailand at the time, and it was kind of like poker had finally just caught up with my level, and it was tough to make money. And I was in debt with my backer for poker. I was in debt with some of my friends, and I was there in a tiny apartment in Bangkok that cost about $180 a month, sitting there like trying everything to just make it. And yeah, I spent about a year there, and it was trying all different things, Fiverr, and it was YouTube that finally started to work for me, and that kind of got me out of there.
Wow, that's awesome. I mean, it's been great talking to you. Anything else you'd like to add to share with all the 20 somethings out there? And
Um, yeah, don't work for the man. Find a
yeah,
way to. You only get to live once, you know. Don't stress about things. I mean, if you got to work for someone to get by, do it. But make sure you're enjoying the moment and don't get caught up in the things that happened in the past. Don't sit there and try to make plans for too far ahead in the future and start thinking about that. I would say whatever's going on, just be happy in the moment. And yeah, just go for your dreams. Take risk, you know? I mean, you can live an even kill life or you can live a roller coaster. I think the roller coaster is the best way to go.
You know, it's funny you say that. We've only had 3 episodes here, but almost each
Hmm.
of those episodes, actually every episode,
Hmm.
someone's brought up the idea of living in the moment, you know, really being present, and it's a great thing to add there. All right. Well, thank you so much for coming on here. I
Thanks.
really appreciate it.
Yeah.
If you enjoyed that video, make sure you hit the subscribe button. What this whole channel is about, and my podcast is all about, it's called the How to Do Your 20s podcast. And it's all about optimizing your life. It's all about figuring out how you can improve it. And each week, I have on different awesome people that are extremely inspiring. And they basically talk about what you can do to improve your life, whether it's building a YouTube channel or how to travel better or dating or really anything. And it's specifically, of course, geared for people in their 20s, but really people of all ages can get a lot out of it. So make sure you hit that subscribe button.